So today we're going to talk about masculine energy and if that scares men off when we're talking about dating, mating, relating. So Marie, what are your thoughts on masculine and feminine energy?
To me, it implies traditional 1950s roles.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
So can I tell you that that's not what in the dating coaching world, what that really means?
Well, I'm not in the dating coaching world.
Okay. So why I'm bringing this up is because in the dating world, there's a lot of, and this is traditionally female coaches. And folks, I just want to be candid. I have a judgment about this. I have an opinion about this, and we're going to talk about it, how it relates and how it could affect your dating experiences if it's because it's misunderstood. So to me, masculine basically means doing. When somebody's doing something, they're making effort in their lives, they're in their masculine. So like when people build homes or women take care of children, they're in their masculine energy.
Women taking care of children, they're in their masculine energy?
Yeah. Now, we oftentimes associate nurturing as feminine. Okay, going back to what you said, that is traditionally a female role, but the energy behind that, the doing, is actually masculine. Okay. Feminine is about receiving. So what's the joke?
I'm good at that.
What do I? Okay. By the way, folks, we tease each other a lot. So what's the little joke I always say about feminine energy?
Oh, about women sitting back in their feminine energy and gimme.
Yeah, or let a man claim you, right? So why I want to dive into this topic today, because there's so much misconception with the rhetoric being told to women out there, and I want to basically set the record straight, okay? First off, again, I said masculine is doing and feminine is receiving. So a lot of times women are criticized for being in their masculine energy for the following types of things. I put together a list for everyone, okay? But it's really not just about being masculine. It's about coming off hard. It's coming off disinterested. When a woman, like playing hard to get is disinterested, that's claiming to be masculine energy as an example, versus feminine energy is supposed to be light and receptive and you wear sexy clothes and all that kind of stuff, which by the way, there's nothing wrong with sexy clothes. But here's some examples. I actually took this from another dating coach's site. I want to talk about it. For example, they claim the following as masculine energy. I don't need you energy. I don't need you. Do you believe that really is?
I think that, we go back to the women's movement and all that.
Yeah.
I think the pendulum, went a little bit too far.
Okay.
And a lot of women, I think, do believe that they put off that energy that I don't need you. I don't need a man. I can take care of myself. And although there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being able to take. I'm sorry, I'm agreeing with you here.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just, it depends on how it's presented.
So it's the tone, because I'm in favor of every woman being empowered. Okay. Not to have, we talked about this a moment ago about traditional gender roles, right? You have two children, two married children, and they are in relationship with two strong women.
Unbelievably strong women. And they do not have gender roles. It's teamwork.
Yeah, your son, I heard him, he was giving a bath to the son the other day. It's not, see, this is where a lot of this rhetoric can be so confusing. So the idea is, I don't need someone. Okay, well, so let's think about this. Is supposed to be masculine energy. So that's saying if a man is doing the same thing, he doesn't need you, means your relationship has no value. You need each other.
That's a good point.
It's important to be needed. It's if a woman is acting, I don't need you, and that's masculine, well, that's basically saying, well, the man can do the same thing, and that's acceptable in the relationship.
But if a man does that in a relationship, then the woman's not in her power. If he's just saying, well, I don't need you, you're just here for me.
Yeah, you're just here for my beck and call.
Yeah.
I think it's important to recognize that two people need each other in relationships. So I'm going to go on to share some more. This is supposed to be masculine behavior is dominant behavior.
Oh.
So like mother energy.
Mother energy?
Yeah. Telling you what to do.
What about dominant dads?
Well, well, again, this goes, okay, so this goes for both genders. I mean, I
Right.
know this topic is masculine energy scares men off, but the fact is dominant energy, whether you're a man or woman, is not attractive.
No.
It's controlling. It can be very toxic to be in dominant energy. If a woman is acting like the man's mother, or the
Yeah.
man is acting like the father, I think that's just
Yeah.
unhealthy energy. So to associate that with masculine, I don't think is healthy. Let's keep going. Not being grateful in relationship. Like, why is that associated with masculinity?
You know, is it because, well, see, I have a different perspective because I was raised in a Colombian household,
Okay.
although I was in the States,
Okay.
and it was very much the gender roles.
Yeah.
And my brothers did nothing. I had to clean the kitchen.
Yeah. You were
It's like-
one of 4 children, where you were 1 girl and 3 boys,
Right.
and you had to do all the housework.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So, okay. So, also in your culture and a lot of South American cultures, a lot of Middle Eastern
Eastern.
cultures,
Yeah.
it's very dominant male, very machismo type of energy,
Yeah.
which we associate with masculinity.
Well, I just know it was really hard growing up with that.
Yeah.
You know, even though my dad turned out to be a great man, growing up sucked.
Yeah. So again, just because we associate things with masculine, what we have to recognize that it's not good behavior. It's not healthy behavior to
Mhm.
not be grateful, to be desperate, to act too jealous. One thing that gets associated with masculine energy is when a woman is criticizing a man for his choices, like his choice of restaurant and,
Oh.
and his choice of, what to do activities or the places to go, and being criticized for that. I had one of my friends, I mean, he took his girlfriend on a trip to Spain and was like, well, why didn't we stay in an 8-star hotel instead of this 5-star hotel? That happened.
Yeah.
So criticizing choices, again, I don't like that, again, telling women that's masculine energy is not right. That's just, why don't we call it what it is? Bad behavior.
It's bad behavior whether you're a female or a male. in my
Exactly.
opinion. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. A couple other things. Being unapproachable. Oh my God. When I was dating, I had so many women, you'd meet them on a first date and they had resting bitch face. It was
Oh.
like so unapproachable. You gave me a gigantic hug when we first met and
I
kissed my
did.
cheek.
Yeah.
You are a very approachable person.
Yeah. Well, we
Um,
already knew each other, so
Yeah.
it was very comfortable.
Yeah.
And
So-
I like to smile because it makes me look younger.
Okay, well, we like that. So, okay, I'm going to keep going. Competitiveness, emotionally detached, not listening. These are all associated with women being in their masculine energy. And all I want to say, ladies, is this, to really get to the bottom line. What's most attractive to men and women is the following characteristics, if you will. So I wrote them
Okay.
down here. Character, kindness, fun and playful, agreeable and intentional. So character. I'm sure that was high on your list.
Oh, we found that list that I had made years ago.
Oh, that's right. What was
Yeah.
it? Was that high on your list as a man's
was
character?
Character, integrity.
Oh, really quickly, what Maria's talking about is she had put together a list of all the qualities she was seeking in a man. There was like 600 things on there. Just kidding. There was probably 15 or 20.
Yeah.
But on that was character. It's also what was on there was kindness.
Yeah. Good character.
Kindness.
Um,
I wrote down fun and play.
yes.
Life is boring if you don't know how to play and have fun. Folks, we get criticized sometimes for the way we banter with one another. We tease each other a lot, okay? And somehow many of you perceive that as being disrespectful to one another or not as interested in one another. And that is like,
No.
is that the furthest thing from the truth?
Of course.
But we like to, it's funny. We were criticized. Well, we were criticized recently on one of our videos. Actually, I'm going to take a break for a second. I want to read to everybody something that happened. Is that okay with you?
Sure.
So, folks, I want to read something because recently in a video with Marie and I, there were some people there that were criticizing, judging, and attacking Marie. And I want to read something out loud that I wrote, okay, for everyone. On my channel, I'm very open, meaning I'm vulnerable, authentic, and transparent. And sometimes my words are used against me, like sharing about the trauma I experienced in childhood, or the fact that I was an unconscious husband or an unconscious dater after my divorce. And while I don't like it, I understand it's part of my journey. Then I invite my partner, a person whom I love, and we have what feels like a fantastic day-to-day relationship. Yet at times, I share my insecurities about our relationship, and some of the challenges we have. And sometimes my ego gets in the way. I'm going to own that. But the thing is we both view our relationship more important. The relationship in itself is more important than our insecurities and our egos. And this week, some people criticized and judged my partner, Marie, and that is unacceptable to me. And while I recognize that being a public figure means you have to take the good with the bad, being her protector means if people are mean-spirited towards her, I will stop it and block them from my channel.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Well, you matter to me. And folks, I think, there's the idea of being provider, protector. It used to be, I was watching a movie about the Mayans in the 15th century.
Oh, yeah.
And it was talk about machismo and everything, but the men were very protective of their women because back then they lived in a uncivilized, somewhat uncivilized. But today, being a protector isn't just about, walking on the other side of the street or, holding a car door open and stuff like that. Being a protector means caring about your partner's emotions. And when someone is disrespectful to your partner, being protective of that. But more importantly, it's also being a protector is to be recognized that, unkindness is unacceptable in my point.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
I just want to say something. It's not just some of the things that were said about me. I have a thick skin. They don't really affect me. I just think it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful because Jonathan also put so much effort into doing things saying things and giving information that really do make a difference in people's lives. And, it's just undermining not just our relationship, but his character as well. And I did not like that one bit. But on the other side of it, we get wonderful, wonderful comments.
Yeah.
These are just a handful of, I want to say rotten apples, because some of the things they said were pretty rotten.
Yeah. And by the way, I want to clarify something you said. It's trying to undermine our relationship. This won't undermine our relationship, okay?
No, but they're, criticizing that, implying that I'm a gold digger, implying that.
Yeah, well, I know I have some notes.
You're not very smart if you pick somebody like me. Oh, it's just for her looks. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That is not cool.
No, and the fact is, and I want to lean into this conversation. And by the way, this actually relates to the concept of masculine and feminine too, because in a real healthy relationship, it's about being teamwork with one another. It's about being partners with one another. So I've invited my partner into this world of what I share publicly, but in all fairness to her, this isn't your area of expertise.
Oh, and to mention another thing, because it comes up a lot, that I'm only using them to get famous and that I want to start my own channel. Never going to happen.
You're going to start a makeup line?
I am not good at this. No. Look, to me, it was a real leap to do this. I did it because Jonathan wanted me to. And I thought, let me try it. And I thought, that was pretty fun. But I'm not taking the lead in anything here.
No, and so we get criticized for me interrupting you. And what most people don't understand, as an example of something, by the way, in our day-to-day relationship, do I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you interrupt me?
Yeah.
Yeah. We interrupt each other a lot. That's called being human. The fact is, in fact,
I'm getting old too.
But I hear this with every couple I know. In fact, I was listening to a podcast today. It's called Spiritually Hungry. And the couple, they've been married for 20 years. She cuts him off and he cuts him off all the time. It's called, it's just, there's a difference between disrespecting someone
Mhm.
versus, hey, I know you might not have something to say and I'm going to fill in the space. So I want to address that. A couple things other people have said too, this relates to dating, mating, and relating, is how you've changed my look. You know, like you came in and changed me, the way I dress and all this stuff. I want to set the record straight. Marie did bring to my attention that wearing, ratty t-shirts probably didn't look overly professional. And the interesting coincidence is I have a contemporary of mine. He has a channel where he has a channel of over 1 million subscribers. And I noticed all of a sudden he's wearing suits and nice shirts. And I said, what happened? He goes, I'm rebranding myself. And I'm like, you know what? I need to rebrand myself. So the fact is, ladies, while she likes style and fashion, I've always liked style and fashion. I think after my divorce, I kind of, talking about pendulum, I used to be a suit and tie guy, double-breasted suit. Now I just, you know what? I went through this period of like jeans and flip-flops.
Yeah.
Now I'm still jeans and flip-flops, and I wear a sport coat when I travel on an airplane type of thing.
And you know what? That was a comment that was made. Well, if you were a jeans and flip-flop guy and I came in and and that doesn't make you any different.
No, I'm still the same guy. So it's interesting because there's this idea that masculine energy tries to change people. Okay. You never tried to change me. And this is really critically important, everyone, to understand that there's a difference between being an inspiration, leading by example, or inviting. So that's really healthier energy versus coming back to expectation. If you don't dress this way, I'm not going to go out with you, kind of, which you never said. But that's just controlling behavior. You never tried to control me. You're just like, hey, I like this, and I'm like, I like it too. A couple other things people have talked about. We are not Jay Shetty and his wife.
We're not.
Okay.
We're not. He's not a monk.
So there is a podcast out there, a hugely wildly podcast by Jay Shetty and his wife. I can't think of her name right now.
I don't know. They're beautiful. They're
oh my God, this gorgeous Indian couple. And he's a monk. This guy does probably,
he was a monk,
he was a monk, but this guy probably does 2 hours of meditation every day standing on his feet. Look at you and I are just raw. We're just real people talking about the stuff that comes up in relationships. But more importantly, not that, folks, I want to be clear about something. I'm not suggesting that we are the role models. However, the one thing I do want a role model for everyone is basically being intentional in their dating practice. And for women in particular, what I think you're a great role model is not giving your power away, which we talked about in the last video, because I serve an audience of women who habitually give their power away to men and then find themselves in disappointing relationships. That's what I want a role model.
There was a comment that someone wanted to know, what does that mean? Giving away your power.
Well, we talked about that last week. Giving your power away means giving, the relationship is all on the man's terms. Giving your power away is if the relationship doesn't work out, you just totally lose your mind because all you think about is the guy and what he's not doing. That's giving your power away. A couple other comments, and then we'll take questions in a moment. The fact that you occasionally go visit your grandkids. It's like,
well, we made an agreement before I moved here, and the agreement was I'm not going to not be a part of my grandchildren's lives. And so I go back to Chicago every 6 to 8 weeks. This time I had to go for a funeral, which was a little bit different, but.
So this demonstrates that in relationship, while we live together and you moved from Chicago to Los Angeles, we also made some agreements, in a healthy relationship. I call it the rules of engagement. You set the standards and you negotiate if that's reasonable. And quite frankly, while you're gone, I love it. I get to watch you jokingly call it my cartoons, which is my Marvel movies. And not that you wouldn't watch it with me because we did Avatar the other day. But my point is that's part of partnership. And I want to just put to rest one other thing, and that is her chasing me, because the thumbnail here says never pursue a guy. Folks, I want to clarify something. Making effort isn't chasing. Yes, you made some effort to connect with me, but we developed a friendship. When you visited here, your children, you reached out to me and said, would you like to get together? I happen to be busy. I happen to be working. I didn't blow you off.
No, I know. And you know what? And I put it that way because, again, we were teasing and I'm like, yeah, he blew me off twice. But it wasn't that. I didn't have a car and I was in Burbank and he's by the beach and it's a long way.
Yeah. So a couple times and we had stuff going on, but ultimately, let's say for argument's sake, you did chase me. Well, it worked. I'm joking, right? But folks, let me be clear about something. Okay. Making effort is essential for a successful relationship. That is not masculine energy. That's not feminine energy. That's called being a good human being. And today we have a lack of a lot of good human beings who are intentional in the process, who are in it for themselves. I mean, there is a dysfunctional population out there. And my hope is we can, if we do role model anything, it's that we role model that relationships, they're not like our relationship isn't a lot of work.
No, it's not.
When you find someone where you have honest communication with one another, forthright communication, and this is something you're skilled at. You are unafraid to talk about the things you want to talk about.
Yes, but my fear is, and this here is that I've never done this before, so I'll just express, I'm afraid that I might say something that's not right.
Oh,
because now things are being twisted.
And it's recorded. Well, but I'm talking about within our relationship.
No, with our relationship, no.
Yeah, ladies, I'm here to encourage folks. Okay, I wrote this in my book. What the heck is self-love anyway? A journey of personal development, self-help, and spiritual work. Chapter 1, speak your truth. Do it with kindness. And chapter 9, if it's sincere and from the heart, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. And I think what I admire about you, sweetheart, is your capacity to be forthright. You just do it in a very kind, loving way. Where'd you learn that from?
I don't know.
It doesn't sound like your parents, but folks, this is what I hope you all can take from this. So again, coming back to masculine and feminine energy, listen, bad behavior is just bad behavior. Let's not characterize it as masculine and feminine. What is attractive is character, kindness, fun and play, agreeableness, humor, intentionality. That's neither masculine or feminine. That's just called really attractive. So I invite you to start practicing that. But
I want to address one more thing.
Okay.
And it's kind of stupid, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
We got comments on my makeup table.
Oh my God. I forgot about that.
And, it's really funny because I came here to buy my table because I wanted Hollywood glam. No, all my furniture I brought from Chicago and it's here. But
the makeup table is something you enjoy, whether and guys have their golf clubs and you got a makeup table. I've
had it for 5 years and I love it. I would never get rid of it.
So the fact that, I think this is critically important. Judgment is the enemy to love. Criticism is the enemy to love. Contempt is the enemy to love. Okay. Here's the thing. For the few that actually spewed their contempt, their criticism, their judgments, it's sadly a mirror for what's going on in their own life. The true path to happiness is a real ladder of loving yourself, but more importantly, and loving others. When we can operate from a place of love for ourselves, fill that love cup, and love others from that well, we actually have a happier life. And so when we have judgments, when we have criticisms, when we are blaming our past partners and we're in victim consciousness, that's going to be a detractor to a healthy, happy relationship. Those are all things, not masculine, not feminine, just a lot of hurt things. And let me say this. There's no doubt many of us have been wounded from our childhood. You and I are constantly dealing with the effects and the residue of our childhood wounds and adult traumas. I invite everyone to work on their stuff because when you do, like what we do, I think we're healthier and happier because of it.
Yeah, our relationship is light and airy, and we don't. There's no heaviness, you know.
Because we did a lot of work before we met.
That's true too.
All right, we're going
All
to
right.
take questions now. For those who know our format, if you have a question, write the word question, then post the question there after, or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. There's a little $sign in the chat box. And if you're watching the replay, you can do a super thanks. All of the monies from the super sticker, super chat, super thanks goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Asley. That's a picture of him right there. The younger one there. He's my son who passed away 5 years ago. And in his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process and Insight Institute, just to name a few. So if you have a question, write the word question or purchase a super sticker, super chat. So I saw something here. Susan wrote, oh, by the way, Val just said great content. Well, thank you so much. Susan wrote, question. This is a different subject. My physical therapist seems interested in asking me how I like him to. However, I'm in no place to be dating. I'm working on myself and not ready to date. If I'm understanding this correctly, her physical therapist is interested in her, but she's not in a place of dating.
So tell him that.
So I guess the question is, did he ask her out? Because if someone asked you out and you weren't, it's not about the person.
Mhm.
It's about yourself. How would you say, like, how would you kindly tell a guy, it's you, not him? And me, and
How would I do it? Okay.
Yeah.
John, I'm really flattered, and I love what you're doing for me. But right now I'm in a position that I just need to take care of myself. Right now I'm dating myself. I really need to learn to be alone. So maybe in the future we can revisit this.
Okay. I like that. That. You're not in a place. So it's not making it about him. It's really, and it's genuinely making it about you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the challenge. He might still take it the wrong way.
Yeah, well, you have no control over how he's going to take it.
That's exactly it. We have no control there's this fear many people have of hurting someone's feelings, but we can't control someone's feelings. And let me just say this, Susan, you can't hurt another person's feelings. That's their story. If you're being sincere, forthright, honest, and kind, okay, anything that happens after that is on him, not on you. You agree? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Someone said the body electric supplement says, based on negative comments, we can see why some folks are single and alone. You know,
True.
It saddens me that and look I think you and we've had negative comments we've said about things, and we've had our judgments about our past relationships.
Yeah, but we never got bombarded.
Well, no, I'm talking about how prior to that being bombarded. I think there's a difference between living in the bitterness and the victim consciousness versus, hey, I got to vent every once in a while.
Yeah, well,
I mean, you vented about some of your relationships, and I vented about some of my relationships. So, okay, thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate that. Oh, Susan just wanted to correct. I mean, my physical therapist seems that he's going to ask me out, and I'm interested in him, but I'm not ready to go out. I'm working on myself. Should I just say yes to a cup of coffee?
Why not?
You know what? I was thinking, well, now that she brought that up, why not go out for a cup of coffee? It's not an obligation to go to bed with them or anything.
You got to read your vows to him first.
Okay. Dating vows, by the way. No. So making a new friend, and in that you can actually be a bit more vulnerable to someone while you're, like in our particular case, we spent a year building a friendship. So by the time we physically met, we felt comfortable with one another, and neither one of us approached it in the beginning romantically. It was like, hey, you have an interesting dating profile. I like you. And
it's
I'm like,
in line with mine.
Yeah. And I liked your profile, you know, and I'm like, okay, so we're attracted to each other, but we live 1,800 miles away. At the end of the day, folks, when we build a real heart connection with someone, you might find yourself, Susan, being ready as you build a connection with this person, who knows? It might be through the friendship. It will lead to you being ready. So I'm really appreciative of your comments. Okay. T. Davis just said, just wow, I'm kind of shocked at all the criticism, Marie, but I suppose I shouldn't be shocked because not everyone is emotionally healthy. Sadly, a lot of people are angry. You know, we are in a society. It saddens me that there's a lot of toxicity and a lot of judgment and a lot of divide. And particularly when it comes to dating, there's this war between men and women. It's like men against women, women against men. I'm like, what I appreciate about you is you just like men. Now, what I mean to say is you never were bitter or jaded towards men.
I never held somebody that I met responsible for what other men had hurt me or whatever. It's like
I judged all women ahead of time.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding. See, that's a joke. That's called teasing, folks. You know, for those that are going to use that against me later. All right, let's keep going. Midnight Blue says, question, how do I speak my truth about something that's going on without making it sound like an ultimatum? So if someone had BO, what would you say to them, Marie?
Oh, everybody knows that.
Okay. I'm joking about that, but that was a nice, okay, for those that don't know, Marie had, in a very nice way, let me know that I had gotten sweaty that day and I smelled a little bit. So the ultimatum would be, if you don't take a shower, I'm leaving. That would be an ultimatum versus a request. I think making a request is a lot different than an ultimatum because it gives the person an opportunity to say yes or no. So okay.
It was hard though. It was hard.
Well, in this particular case, you said it in a way, I don't think you stink. It's like, I don't think your deodorant is working. Okay. So by doing it in a non-confrontational way, I highly recommend reading the book. Let me grab this book. This is a great, by the way, all the books I recommend are listed below. My coaching is listed below. This is a great book called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. This actually has great tools. And there's even, go to the YouTube channel by Marshall Rosenberg. Great tools to learn how to communicate in a, not a non-confrontational, it's not non-violent, but a compassionate way to communicate. So Midnight Blue, I highly recommend checking out that book. Okay, Sherry. Question, did you and Marie do the 8 dates? Okay, well, for everyone that's not aware, there's a book called, oops, I'm a little bit, it's harder to get to the books now. There's a book here called 8 Dates by Doctors John and Julie Gottman. First off, I highly recommend everybody checking out this book. The Gottman Institute. You're not familiar with the Gottman. You are familiar? Okay. The Gottman Institute is a great organization. These two couples therapists that really help couples. I think they've interviewed 40,000 couples, and they can determine with a strong amount of accuracy of the couples who will succeed and the ones who will fail. And I think they have a 95% accuracy rate. The book 8 Dates is not something we needed to read because I'm a living, breathing book. I'm a living, breathing example of the book. So we didn't, I think.
Do they talk about unpacking?
Well, literally, well, you're not aware of this because you haven't read the book, but I'll just tell you. Everything we did during those 3 days, you know, we met, was this book.
It was the concentrated 8 dates.
Yeah. So what we did in 3 days or 4 days was the 8 dates. We unpacked our past relationships. We unpacked our life. We unpacked trust, commitment. We talked about money in our relationship. We talked about sex. We talked about family. We talked about friends. When I say we talked about it, we picked in the nooks and crannies of these things. And we did this on our 3rd meeting.
And life goals and financial goals.
Yeah.
And
remember we were in the jacuzzi? Okay, so folks,
jacuzzi.
Let me share something. Okay. Why don't you share what happened in the jacuzzi?
No. You do it.
Okay. So when we were talking about exploring a relationship together, we thought it was important to talk about our finances, to talk about where we were financially. And for a lot of people, that can be very uncomfortable to talk about how much money you have in the bank. And we talked about that, what our current income is, and where we think, where we would be in the future. So by having that discussion, money is an important discussion to have in relationship. I think a lot of couples are very benign. They're very ambivalent about it. They're like in fear of talking about it. And we're like, let's just show. We actually showed each other our bank account statements. Well, we had to when we moved in together. My point is we had the hard conversations, which the book 8 Dates talks about. By the way, everyone, in the description below, you can go Jonathan recommended books to get out all the books I recommend. Actually, I can do this too, right here. Where is this? Book recommend, or you can go to jonathanasley.com/book recommendations. So wasn't that cool that I just did that? Okay, let's see what we got here. Johika says to Susan, getting to know a person in a deeper level doesn't have to end in relationship. You could just add him to your list of friends to get to know him. In time will tell. Exactly.
And you also never know that you may meet people through him that may work out for you as well.
You know what?
Other friends.
I'm glad you talked about that. I think as a society, we don't do a good job fixing people up.
Well, because everybody's so isolated. And I think COVID made that even worse.
So we're watching a show called The Indian Matchmaker.
He likes it.
I like that show, but I like it. It's research for me, Seema Auntie. But one of the things the matchmaker continually talks about to these couples is less focus on looks and more focus on character.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like about this show is, remember the first date of that school teacher guy? And
the one that was bouncing off the wall.
Yeah. And but they did their first date with her parents. The first date was him and her parents and her. I love this because because the parents aren't afraid to ask the tougher questions.
Yeah.
I think everybody's afraid to ask the tougher questions. And I like the parents, like the father, and I know this even in the show, even The Bachelor. The fathers will ask the guys, what are your intentions with my daughter? We need to go deeper than the surface, but more importantly, I get we want to feel physically attracted to one another. And, I'm fortunate you're just a naturally beautiful person. But at the same time, your character is what won it over for me. Your values are what won it over for me. Your kindness, all these things were factors that won me over. And yeah, you're hot too. Okay. All right. I just wanted to share that.
But looks are just the luck of the draw. If you don't work on yourself, you don't make yourself more attractive on the inside, then you're just the shell of a person.
God, didn't we see that picture of the woman who made herself to look like Kim Kardashian?
Oh, she
just died. But I mean, she did everything to change her outward appearance.
34 years old.
And she died so young at 34. And my guess is she was hurting on the inside. Folks, true self-love is a job from inside out. And I'm a big proponent of self-care and doing those things to make yourself feel good. A makeup table. Okay. See, now someone's going to use that against us now. We're just teasing. Okay.
Look, but I don't mind the criticism if it's constructive, but personal attacks, come on. That's not cool.
So coming back to, it's an inside out job, and outside is important too. So Kimmy goes on to ask a question. Jonathan and Marie, why is it that he can discuss his past relationship but don't want to hear mine? So I'm assuming she's with someone. He can talk about his past relationship, but he doesn't want to hear hers.
I don't think that's a partnership. I mean, I would, if you wouldn't want to hear my stories, that would not have worked for me.
I can laugh about that, right?
You can.
Okay, so it's interesting because in our relationship, Marie has unpacked her past relationship significantly, and I happen to be a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's one of the traits of, a healthy relationship is a good listener. here's the thing. I think some men are territorial.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to hear about your past relationships because men often, they just want to be seen as your, your victor, or your victor, if you will. So I can understand why he might do that. But coming back to what Marie said, in a healthy relationship, here's the thing. When you're meeting total strangers and you know nothing about them, how do you find out about a person is to hear about their past. Because, our life didn't start at age 50 and move forward. There was a life for those of us in midlife, I should say. But whatever age you are right now, your life didn't start then. It started well before that. And the fabric of your life before that, the tapestry of your life before is woven into who you are as a person. So
I was with my husband for 28 years. Like that was my whole life.
Yeah.
And 4 kids and stuff. So yeah, I can't imagine not being able to talk about that.
So, and we've unpacked it and we talked about it, and I've done the same in my relationship. And we both have our wounds and our traumas. And by talking through these together, we built deeper intimacy with one another. Folks, talking about your past actually can bond you to another person. Well, it could bond in a trauma way, but that's for another discussion. But more importantly, it's how you get to know the flavor of the person's life is through their past. And then how they show up matters as greatly as how they showed up in their past.
And what they learned from their past is important.
Because I was a jackass in my past. I was a very self-centric. Well, because I grew up in that. Listen, I'm a baby boomer, tail end baby boomer. I grew up with a very, go to work, get a job, or go to college, get a job, meet a girl, get married, buy a house, start a family, and be a provider. And that's all I focused on. And that's what a lot of my generation did. I was self-centric in that way. I wasn't selfish. I just happened to be myopic, very tunnel vision. So by sharing what I experienced in my past to you and how I grew from that, it actually helped our relationship. So anyways, I hope that helped, Kimmy. All right. T. Davis says, I love this topic about not being jaded. I just had a discussion with a man I had dated, and I told him I will never lower my vibration to being jaded and judging all men because of a few, I'll say, bad apples.
Yeah. Amen. Good for you.
You had a few bad apples. Not
really. They weren't great, but they weren't awful.
Well, I think, and yes, you had some experiences that hurt deeply, but the men weren't bad guys.
No, they weren't bad guys.
I always say this, ladies, most men are good people. They're just bad daters.
Yeah, no, I've met wonderful, wonderful people. It just, either it didn't work out because it wasn't chemistry or,
But you didn't blame those men. You didn't.
I didn't blame every man.
The new man didn't pay a price for something that happened in the past.
Did you pay a price?
Oh God, I paid tons of price with you. Oh, okay. Let's keep swimming. Body Electric Supplement says the money talk is very important, folks. Whether we like it or not, it is an important conversation. All right, Wanda goes on to say, question for Marie. Do you think if no chemistry there in the beginning says that, if it's no chemistry there, if there's no chemistry there in the beginning, it says that way over time?
It stays that way over time, probably.
Oh, okay, stays that way over time. My friend would be the perfect boyfriend if there was. I've tried.
So the question is, do I think that chemistry can come later? Is that what the question is? You just never know. Sometimes you'll always be in the friend zone, and that's okay. There are people in my life that I can't imagine not having them in my life, and it started with kind of a romantic thing, and yet we were just talking about the shaman.
Oh yeah.
And it just great people. I don't know. I don't have that answer because I've never been in that situation.
Well, I've observed, okay, so as a coach, and by the way, folks, if you need some support and coaching, check out a link to a discovery call with me to see if working with the coach is right for you. All right. As a coach, I would say, by the way, I didn't tell you this. I got a letter in the mail from a client who just got married on April 1st. She sent me the announcement and said, and I should have pulled this up for everyone. She went on to say how much working with me contributed to her meeting the guy of her dreams and getting married. So
that's awesome.
So why I'm bringing this up though, folks, and thank you. I would say well over of the thousands of women I've helped over the years, 1/3 of them have told me I didn't have chemistry with the guy on the first, second, or third date, but something changed. Mm-hmm. And what I believe is if at least you have energetic chemistry, energetic connection, the physical can happen because you can fall in love with a person's character even more so than their looks.
Okay, so if you go back to the Indian matchmaker,
yeah,
I mean, these people are basically being matched up, not arranged, but matched up.
Yeah.
And a lot of them get married very quickly. They don't know each other very well. Like the parents always talk about that, and they've been together 40 years.
Yeah.
And everyone that I know a couple of people that had arranged marriages, they eventually grew to love each other because they made the choice to be married. But
it wasn't about looks. It was about character. It was about their family values. It is about character, family values, kindness, a community. You know, so chemistry, I think a lot of times we hyper focus chemistry on looks and not enough on, because I think you even say with me, it's who I am as a person that's the most attractive to you, right?
Right.
It's not that I'm devastatingly handsome. I'm just kidding. So I hope I answered your question, Wanda. Thank you so much. By the way, I want to give props. I'm going to come back to a few other questions, but I want to give props to Weejin. John and Marie, I haven't been in your videos since I got married. Oh, it was today your marriage. Okay. Thanks for being great role models to guide us and meet loved one I married. I gave dating vows and we're reading 8 dates regularly as our ritual. So this is the one I'm talking about. You sent me the letter. Thank you so much. I didn't realize it was today. So thank you. All right. Wow. And thank you for the super sticker. We really appreciate that for the Connor Aslay Fund. Okay. Here's a question. We're going to rock and roll tonight. How can we encourage openness in an avoidant, shy couple? How can we encourage openness?
If you're both avoidant and shy?
Well, I think my suspicion is one person is shy and the other is avoidant. So avoidants are, if you're not familiar with it, are less expressive. They tend to be more closed off, emotionally speaking.
How different is that from an introvert? Because I dated somebody, a few times, and I just, he was just very shy and introverted. So
here's the thing. It's interesting. My ex-wife was shy and introverted when I met her. And then like months later, she couldn't shut her up. And by the way, to illustrate that, for a shy person, they need more time to feel safe. That's what oftentimes it is. Some people have maybe they're on the spectrum. They have Asperger's. They have a challenge being socially open with people. That certainly exists. But I think ultimately a shy person just needs to feel safe. Now, going back to an avoidant love attachment style, those are folks that fear love. They've had a wound in childhood that most likely wasn't addressed. Now, if they're severe woundedness, they definitely need personal development, self-help, spiritual work to heal that. Then there are some people that have mild avoidant, or they're just it's on the edge of being an avoidant versus the people like myself. I'm on the edge of being anxious. I think you're on the edge of being avoidant. By the way, that will be used against us, jokingly speaking. But I'm saying that particular duality between us actually helps our relationship work in a yin and yang type of fashion. So and I know I've said a lot of gobbledygook there. So what I'm really trying to say is if someone is mildly avoidant or mildly shy, being in a healthy relationship could draw them out. If they have severe wounds and traumas from childhood or adulthood, they may need some serious personal development, self-help, spiritual work, therapy to heal so they can come out of their shell, so to speak. So I hope that helped.
I do have a friend that, as a therapist, she said that always go for the nerds, because the nerds are more stable.
You know, there's actually engineers. I have this theory that engineers can make some of the best partners to be in relationships. They're nerdy, but they also have a sense of duty. They have a sense of responsibility. I'm just, this is, by the way, this is just a speculation, but I can see how nerds could be that way. People that are flamboyant, they oftentimes need a lot, you know, like I'm a Leo, so I need a lot of attention. But at the same time, I've done a lot of work to heal that. And some people who are salespeople, they're out in the public type, they oftentimes need a lot of validation versus the nerd that's just, you know, they're consistent.
Yeah.
And by the way, I know that sounded like a lot of judgment between the two of us. So again,
Well,
don't use, I'm afraid that's going to be used against us.
I know, but that was a therapist that said that too.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, you can throw the therapist under the bus. Rita says, I enjoyed listening tonight, sending continued success. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Holly goes on to say, I love the Indian Matchmaker. Watch it as well. We're only in the 3rd episode. One of our group members from Midlife Love Mastery. Folks, if you're not familiar with my group called Midlife Love Mastery, I highly recommend checking it out. Here's the link to the group. If you're watching the replay, you can make a note of this, but I want to talk about this comment from one of our members. Oh, shoot, where'd it go? Here we go. Marie takes all the negative comments as a compliment. There are haters on you because you are hot, sexy, and beautiful. If you were unattractive, they wouldn't say a thing. Well, you know, and by the way,
thank you. You look, I roll with the punches. Thank you. I really appreciate the compliment.
So can we say something publicly? Who criticizes you more than anyone on this planet?
Me.
Talk about that for a second. Who is self-critical?
I mean, I think as women, a lot of us are this way.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when I got this glam table with a magnifying mirror that's showing everything. And yeah,
I think what's sad is it's, you know, what is it? You know, when you put everyone under a microscope, you can criticize anything about them. But what's interesting is how judgment is. So I think I was talking about the movie. Does anyone remember the movie, The Breakfast Club? It's a story. It's set in Chicago or in Illinois, I believe Illinois. Yeah, it's Illinois, Shermer High School.
Well, that doesn't exist.
Okay. But anyway, so it's about 6 kids that are in detention. There's a bad boy, there's the nerd, there's the sports guy, there's the popular girl, and I guess there was 5 of them. And the eccentric gal, if you will. And each person had a judgment about the other person based on what they saw on the outside. And in the movie, when they actually got to know each other, they found out that they were all so similar. They had the same fears. They had the same judgments. They had the same anxieties in life. And that's the reality of human beings. Sadly, oftentimes we humans, myself included, because we can watch reality shows and judge people. I think judgment, as I said earlier, is the enemy to love. So what can we do to uplift people? And listen, folks, I have to say something personally. I do this because I love it. I've studied relationships. I've tried to be better as a person, and I just share what I've learned. Sometimes it's the world according to Jonathan, okay? But I do this because I have a passion for being of service, and I invite everyone to lean into that for themselves because there's a fulfillment comes from being of service.
He loves what he does.
Yeah. And now you're a part of it, and I think you love doing this, right?
I think this is fun.
Yeah.
I think this is fun. I just don't, I'm just a sidekick. I'm not.
By the way, Jennifer says, I have a makeup table. It's a must. Thank you. All right. Kathleen says, Jonathan, I agree with you about everything. I know you are with Marie, but will you marry me? Well, I'm taken. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. I had a client said if I was lesbian, she said she'd like to date you. All right. Okay, Joy says our past has shaped the people we have become. If a man doesn't want to know my past, then he doesn't care about who I am today. We all have a past. Exactly.
Yes.
Susan goes on to say, thank you so much, Jonathan Marie. Denise says, I love the conversation that started with I went to a certain place and inquisition started. With who did you do that? Oh, I really didn't want to hear the answer. Sorry about that. I don't get that one. All right, let's see if there's a question. Oh, people are saying, congratulations, Weejan. We are so happy for you. Leaf is one of our loyal followers, says here for the intermission, back for the playoffs. Everything sounds awesome. How about the advice she got here from Weejan? Great. Have a great night. Yes, Weejan, please share what really stood out for you. We'd like to hear from you. All right, let's keep going. What's this word? ambivalent, ambivert?
Ambivert, where they're both an extrovert and an introvert.
Okay. Is that what that is? Oh, what? They're both the same?
Oh, your ex-wife.
Yeah, my ex-wife. I know she's responding to that. I've never heard that word, but I'm going to have to Google it now.
I may be that because I can be very introverted, and then I could be.
You know, it's fascinating. Everybody thinks I'm an extrovert. I'm actually a very quiet, like to stay at home kind of person. Everybody thinks I'm that person. My brother is an extrovert.
Yes.
I'm actually an introvert.
But you may want to stay at home, but you're not a quiet person.
Okay. Well, I like to unpack things all the time. Thanks for that. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Oh, okay. Here we go. We have a question. Dear Jonathan and Marie, thank you for being so awesome. My question is, how do I begin to talk about money? Any specific wording you can advise me to personalize? Thank you so much.
How did we start?
I said, what's your bank account? No. So actually, folks, I want you to go to the book, 8 Dates by Doctors John and Julie Gottman. We're going to open chapter 4, which is called The Cost of Love, Work and Money. So it's on page 113. But folks, here's the thing I want to share with you. Oh, here we go, 113. See, this is the chapter called The Cost of Love, Work and Money. So there are actually questions in this book designed to bring up these conversations. So here's a couple questions. What does your work mean to you? What pleasure or satisfaction do you get out of work? What needs does working fulfill in your life? And those are the work questions, and there's subsequent money questions. How well off were your grandparents? What did your parents do for a living? How well off were your parents? I mean, these are just some examples. Now, in our particular case, we had talked about the idea of moving in together. So we were at a stage in our relationship, we were talking about something that required a financial conversation, which was when we found this place, my office, if you will, because we live at my office. When we found this place, we said, how will we make this work? And so we began talking about where we were financially. I openly shared, but we were also at that point in a fully committed relationship.
We were. And, but I do remember one of the first conversations is about my income.
Yeah.
And it was, we talked about it.
So, and I think Marie is a little reluctant to share her personal business with everyone, so I can understand that. But we talked about how you currently receive income from certain from investments and trusts and things like that. And also where I'm at in my business, and we talked about that. But the other thing is also seeing how a person lives, right? You can see how they live, what kind of car they drive. You can get a sense of a person. You can also, while I don't think you could Google how much does a dating coach make, if you're dating.
Oh, I Googled you.
Yeah, but it doesn't say how much.
It says you make like 100 grand or something. And
well, it's funny because.
So then I Googled myself.
And then how much did it say you made?
I couldn't find me.
Okay. So, and by the way, that's not accurate, but you can, like, you could Google how much does an engineer make? How much does a project manager at a construction company make? You could probably get a sense of where they're at. The reality is though, 80% of Americans still make less than $100,000 a year. So, I'm a big believer 2 incomes are better than 1, and joining forces together there's a stronger union when 2 people, while we don't commingle our money, we both invest in this relationship in the share that we agreed to. And that's one of the conversations we had. We said, how is this relationship going to be from a financial perspective, and what are we going to agree to contribute to it? And now it's like, we don't even think about it.
No, and it's not, the only thing that we do that with is the rent. The rest of the stuff, it's,
I buy groceries, you take this. Yeah, it's like we don't think about that. Yeah. So when you're in a relationship where you've had good communication, it's rather easy. Now, to answer your question, read the book 8 Dates to learn some of the languaging. That's my recommendation to you. Okay. Monica says, Jonathan once mentioned the first date is the first phone call. Folks, since she brought that up, I want everyone to understand something. I believe the first date is the first phone call. When you first speak to someone, it's you're getting to know them.
Okay.
So asking really good questions gives you a sense of whether or not you want to see this person.
I didn't do that.
Well, you didn't do what?
In the first phone call.
Well, okay. So are you talking about the fact that I didn't like our first phone call?
Because you told me I didn't ask any questions.
So, okay. And what did you learn after that?
Well, after
I told you
the
that.
second call. Yeah. No. And it's like, oh, someone else had mentioned that to me.
So, and then since then, and you dated a number of people after we first spoke, did you ask more questions going forward?
Oh, yeah.
Did you start practicing some of the things I was teaching you?
No, then he would call and he'd say, okay, so how's it going?
Yeah, because we were friends in the beginning. We weren't romantic relationships. So anyways, I hope I answered your question. By the way, we're getting some really lovely comments. Folks, I'm going to end on this beautiful comment. Talia says, thank you from the whole of my heart for answering my questions so thoroughly. Very helpful. I'll definitely check out the book. Sending you best wishes. Thank you, Jonathan and Marie. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody who's been commenting tonight, thank you so much for your kindness, your care, your generosity. I hope we do bring value.
I hope so too.
Yeah, there's nothing easy about dating. It's not easy. I said this to a client today. Imagine 2 children that were raised by super wealthy parents. Okay. They most likely will be spoiled, but worse, they have no clause if something should happen where the family loses their money. The reality is the experiences you've had in life has given you, I say the word clause, but what I mean to say is resilience. It's giving you an opportunity to be stronger from it. So I invite you all to look at your past relationships, to look at your experiences and say, this has helped me become a better person. So I'm better prepared to be in a relationship. I've unpacked your entire past
life.
And I see how it's made you such a good person. I hope you feel the same way about me.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. So everyone, I'm going to end on a quick prayer. God, universe, spirit, I invite everyone here to attract a wonderful relationship where there's amazing chemistry between the 2 of you. And the communication is off the charts and you're compatible and you can blend lives with one another and you can share the same values and you can build the deep roots of trust through emotional maturity. I invite that in for everyone. Sending you off with a big, gigantic Jonathan. Oh, wait. I'm going to give you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug.
That was really pretty.
Oh, thank you.
It was very sweet.
Thanks. Hey, I hope you had value tonight. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye now. I want to say bye to Holly and Nicole and Weejan and Elena and Jennifer and Igma Baby and Nicole and Johika and Talia. And I'm butchering names, by the way. Marilyn, Joy, T. Davis, Debbie, Susan, Diane, Kristen, thank you so much. Wanda for being in the house. Leaf for being in the house. Thank you so much. Be well. Bye now.
Bye-bye.